I want you to know that I am in no means attacking his family, and in fact, I think after the first 5 minutes of the show tonight, you're actually going to feel sorry for the little boy, Barry Obama. The boy, the little one, this little boy. He's so cute. You're not going to feel sorry for the man, but the tragedy of this kid's childhood is staggering. His parents seemingly, from what you can piece together, his parents seemingly placed radical politics over everything else, including their little boy. I am not one to talk. I grew up with a dad who worked all the time. He was a small business owner. He owned the City Bakery in Mount Vernon, Washington. And the only time I saw him is at work. I work all the time. My kids come to work and we spend time at my job, or we travel together. A lot of us do this. We have long hours and we support our families. But how many of us have been abandoned for the bakery, or my job, or your job? Would you ever leave your kid for that? How about how many of us have been abandoned for a Marxist political theory or politics? This didn't happen to little Barack Obama once, but twice. Both parents. Brace yourself as I introduce you to this man's tragic childhood. First, we start with Barack Obama Sr. This is the foundation of this man's house. Here are his parents. The little boy. Barack Obama Sr. Barack Obama Sr., again, not name calling, just telling you the truth. The man was a committed communist. To each his own, I guess. Now, he was only in Barack Obama's Jr.'s life until the age of 2. His economic policies have a familiar ring. He's a Harvard-educated economist, a Nairobi bureaucrat, Barack Hussein Obama Sr. He advised his pro-Western Kenyan government after he left this little boy. He went over and advised them to redistribute income through higher taxes. The apple doesn't seem to fall far from the tree. He also wrote about his distrust of a capitalist system while quoting Marx. Now, that's his dad. When Barack was 2, this man left his son for a good Harvard education. And then he only visited his son once. I'm not sure if this is the picture. Obviously, San Francisco. Of his mother now, I mean, it's Dorothy from Kansas, right? That's what everybody says. Dorothy from Kansas. And again, I'm not disparaging his parents. We just have to get to know his parents. Obama said that she was quoting him, the dominant figure in my formative years. The values she taught me continue to be, keywords, my touchstone when it comes to how I go about the world of politics. Mom, my touchstone. Do we have the picture of Mom, please? Stanley Ann Dunham. There she is. I'm sure she was a great mom. She is his touchstone, the values and the things she taught him, his touchstone when it comes to politics. She was described by a friend as, quote, a fellow traveler. If anybody who reads about progressives and Marxism, you recognize that language. Her friend added, we were all liberals before we even knew what liberals were. It has been said that she may have been a practitioner of something called critical theory. This is a mixture of atheism with radical leftist activist kind of stuff. Nietzsche, it's Marx to the extreme. She was also a supporter of Adlai Stevenson, the former Illinois governor and presidential candidate. During the late 1950s, Stevenson campaigned on the aggressive liberal agenda he dubbed the New America. Change, fundamental change for a new America. Dunham later left to Hawaii to travel to Indonesia for a second time, and then she left her son to move to Pakistan. She left her son with her parents. This is the second time this poor little boy was left by a parent. Left with these people, his grandparents. I'm sure his grandparents back in Hawaii were great. I mean, Obama has portrayed his mother's parents as conservative Methodists and Baptists from Kansas. There's a problem with that. At some point they changed, because when they lived in Washington State, these two, his mom's parents, were members of the East Shore Unitarian Church. This is a left-leaning congregation in Bellevue near Seattle. I grew up in the Seattle area. I know about this part of history. I didn't know these people attended it, but I know about this part of history. The Chicago Tribune mentions a description of grandparents' church here. Barack Obama's mother, not just a girl from Kansas. They mention it as the Little Red Church on the Hill. This is what I remember it as growing up in the Seattle area. According to its own website, the East Shore Unitarian Church got that name because of well-publicized debates and forums on such controversial subjects as the admission of Red China to the United Nations. John Stenhouse, a local communist and a former chairman of the Mercer Island School Board, the Little Red School, also happened to serve as the church president, possibly contributing to the red label. So, let me recap. Obama's childhood and formative years. Here's his parents, here's his dad, radical communist. He leaves this boy only to return once. He goes to Kenya to advise them on redistribution of wealth. His mom, we believe to be a critical thinker, a critical theory follower, which is Marxism. She leaves him to go to Indonesia, leaves him with the parents, who are just these great people, and I'm sure they are. But let's look at their philosophies. They go where? They raise him through his formative high school years. These people used to go to the Little Red Church. Okay. I'm sure, like most of us, Barack Obama has tender feelings for his grandparents and his parents. And they all may be fantastic people. I'm not judging them. I am trying to give you a look at his influences. We're trying to discover who Barack Obama is by looking into his foundation. What is his foundation? Obama's grandfather recognized that Barack had been abandoned by his dad and his mom. Now, according to Barack Obama's, in his own words, in his own book, Barack was struggling with his racial identity. Grandpa, being a decent grandpa, noticed this. So what did Grandpa do? He introduced him to a poet that he knew living in Hawaii, who, according to Barack Obama, was a strong black male influence in his life. He could mentor his grandson. That's what he did. Good for him. The problem is, who was that strong figure? The mentor during his impressionable teen years? Obama in his book only identified him as Frank in his memoir, and because no journalist here in America will do their job. It took a guy in New Zealand, a researcher, a blogger, finally to uncover and publish who the mentor was. It was this man, Frank Marshall Davis. Frank, the reason why he didn't put Marshall Davis there is because he was a black poet and communist with an FBI file. So nothing to see here, right? Just move along. I mean, no wonder the mainstream media hasn't given an ounce of credibility to any claims of socialism. To me, it is amazing to me. I mean, this kid didn't have a chance to be rooted in the Founding Fathers. This guy doesn't have a chance to actually think anything but radical thoughts based on everybody in his life so far. Who's defending capitalism? But then Barack Obama goes to college. Now, here's how he described the company, in his words, that he kept in school.
To avoid being mistaken for such a sellout, I chose my friends carefully. The more politically active black students, the foreign students, the Chicanos, the Marxist professors.
Okay. This is time when he changes his name.